OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app. Your home smart speaker up on TSN 4. Brian Hayes, Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jonas Siegel in the house. What's happening this afternoon?
I couldn't enjoy that baseball game as much as I wanted to last night. It was an incredible turnaround after the first. I think you tweeted out, Hazy B, disaster.
I did.
When
Yes. Which was accurate at the
inning or
time.
second inning?
No.
First inning.
Yeah.
It was a disaster the first
Too
inning.
Cobb for them. You were like, disaster.
Yeah.
Don't you guys have a segment, delete your tweet, or what was that called?
Yeah, the filter. We used to call it the filter, yes.
You should have flushed that.
Well, okay.
Wait a little bit.
Edit it. You could have edited it.
No, I don't edit.
No.
I don't edit. I leave it all out there. You want to go find it? I don't delete. I don't edit. I live in the moment.
What about this?
All right?
Put it on like in your drafts. You just keep it there in case it gets to 6-0.
Yes.
You guys are internet trolls. Look at the two of you.
No.
Because
it was unnecessary.
No,
I
it's
read
not.
it and I'm like, oh.
okay, let me flush this out for you. It wasn't just the first inning for Bieber. Vladdy gets on, moves over on an error. Here comes Santander. Chance to finally make an impact, strikes out. So from that standpoint, I'm like, all right, runners in scoring position.
Disaster.
Down 2-0 in the series. Putting them at cleanup. Strikes out, doesn't look great. Bieber goes out there, gets hammered. Not only the 2-run home run to Rodriguez, Polanco comes up, boom, double. I'm like, here we go. Disaster inning. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Doesn't
It was a
mean
real-time tweet.
Yes, it doesn't mean that it's a disaster for the rest of time or you can't recover. But I'm an old school
You
Twitter
should
guy,
be
man.
smarter than that.
No. I'm an old school Twitter guy. Live in the moment. That's what
you're
Twitter
live
used to
tweeting.
be.
That's what you're doing?
Twitter used to be about wherever when you're on, you can't go back in time.
You used to be a live tweeter.
Can't go back in
Never.
time. Look at that. Look at that.
Disaster.
Disaster, and that's what it was. It was a disaster. And then to
8:25. Didn't the game start at 8:05?
8:08. Yeah, that's right. 8:08.
You should know it was the first inning.
I
Yeah, but
understand
dude,
that.
the way the games have gone, it's been like, you want to
Yes.
start like that, keep trucking like that.
That's it. Exactly.
But where I couldn't get the enjoyment, we all know what happened. The Jays pumped them. It was
That was an unbelievable night.
an unbelievable
What?
night and turnaround, but it did not take me long. I think it was like 12-2. It ended up, 13-4. At 12-2, I'm like, Scherzer's going tomorrow. And then I started worrying immediately. I'm like, they just somehow dug their way out of that hole. And then I thought about Scherzer and how long it's been since he pitched, and I couldn't enjoy it. I started panicking immediately.
Well, would you feel better if it was a bullpen game tonight?
I'm not going to lie, I almost would. Because I do not know what the hell this guy's going to bring to the table. Hall of Famer or not, hasn't pitched in so long. And the last bunch of times he was out, his first innings were disastrous.
He was a disaster in September. And the last time he was out, he got destroyed. And it's been weeks. It's very terrifying.
Yes.
It's very scary.
I got to like, oh my God, they pumped them. They ran up the score, 5 bombs. Amazing stuff. And
What
then
a
I
night.
just stopped and I thought, oh man.
It's a big gamble. It's the definition of a risk-reward play that dates back to when they signed him. And remember, they signed Scherzer late in the offseason. And Boris was peddling him around and trying to find a job, and the Jays did not have a great PR offseason. And I think when they signed him, they thought, well, this will create a buzz.
It did.
And it most certainly did. And
And
maybe
then his thumb ran into his shoulder blades, and then that was a mess. But then there was a stretch when they ran through Pitt and I think Miami or something, where people were like, if the playoffs started today, that guy might be our first guy out.
absolutely. He had a 10-start run that was very quality.
Yes.
And would make you feel comfortable about a situation like tonight. But when they handed him that contract, I don't believe for a second they envisioned this situation.
No.
It was about regular season. Maybe he helps. Maybe they win some games.
Like
maybe.
Bieber said before he took the mound, he's like, that's why they brought me in here for this game tonight.
Yes.
I don't know if Max Scherzer could look in the camera and say that with a straight face.
I cannot imagine back in March or February that was the thought, like a reasonable thought. in your wildest dreams, maybe you're in Game 3 of the ALCS.
Wait, I'm misunderstanding. Don't you think the whole point of signing him was for the playoffs?
Do you think they thought they were making the playoffs? That's what I'm getting to. Do you really
think they hoped?
Let alone the CS.
Of course. They hoped. Do you think they thought they were making the playoffs?
You think they signed him just to get through the regular season? He barely pitched last year. He was hurt the whole year.
I think they signed him because they needed PR, and he's a massive name, and he comes in and fulfills duties and wraps up your rotation, and they were hopeful they'd have a big bounce back. They were clearly much more optimistic behind the scenes about the team that they had. But I don't think, even in their wildest dreams, they thought this is the situation they'd find themselves in. But here they are, and I will say this about Scherzer. He will be comfortable tonight.
Well, can I make a comparison?
He will definitely be comfortable tonight.
This whole thing has reminded me of Pacioretty last year, where it's like and you maybe disagree, but like you don't really care about the regular season.
But the Leafs knew they were going to the playoffs when they signed Pacioretty.
Fair.
That's my point, Jonas.
But I guess I'm just thinking, if I'm them, I'm thinking with Pacioretty, if we can just get
Did
him.
you have
Yes.
a dump in your shorts when Pacioretty was taken to the ice in the playoffs last year?
Did I have a what?
No.
Well, and you can hide him. He was on the second line. And
remember, he
didn't get your attention like
he
this.
didn't play at the start of the playoffs. Like, remember, like,
yes.
in the regular season, didn't go great. He was hurt a lot of the time. He was scratched some of the time. Didn't play a bunch.
I know, but my last question was, did he scare you when he took the ice? You were like, nah, this might work out, it might not.
No,
with Scherzer, you're like,
fair.
There is so much on the line with this guy.
But so, what is your, like, if you ask the Jays right now, you can guarantee this from him tonight. Is it 3 innings? Is it 2 innings? Is it 4 innings? 2 runs? Like, what would you take?
I would say, well, I mean, if it can be runs, you do that.
Like, if he gave you 3 innings and gave up 2 runs, would you take that? Probably, right?
Yes, probably. Yes, I haven't heard from Schneider today. I don't know exactly what they're planning. They obviously have a game plan for tonight. Scherzer's not going 7 or 8 innings tonight.
And probably not going 5.
More than likely won't. Like, if the total's 3.5 innings, would you go over or under?
Under.
I'd have to go under, man.
So
if you
presume then is it a Scherzer Bassett split start? Like, is that what we're expecting tonight? Is it Scherzer for 3, Bassett for 2, something like that? Can Scherzer give you 9 or 10 outs? Can Bassett give you 5? And then you go to the bullpen and you take it from there?
That makes sense.
That's possibly what they're planning.
Those two are buddies, so it's like...
Well, and Bassett seems very comfortable in the role that he's currently in, and he's saying all the right things. But the aura of Scherzer is what makes this incredibly captivating, because there clearly is anxiety where, 10 years ago, this is a dream. 10 years ago, Seattle's driving to the park saying, we are in massive trouble. Like, we are in huge trouble with Max Scherzer on the mound, and the bats are alive for the Blue Jays. It's not 10 years ago. We don't know what he's going to bring. Castillo's on the mound, though, and the Jays have hit him a lot this year. Like, the Jays have been very comfortable with Castillo. And I think, again, with the bats coming alive last night, and they didn't just come alive. Like, they went on a bender. They didn't sleep for 36 hours. Like, 18 hits, 13 runs, 5 home runs is absurd, the stats. And it just kept going and going and going. And Bieber was great. After a disastrous first, it was a disaster in the first. I stand by that. But he was phenomenal the rest of the way, to his credit.
Yeah. To pump in 6 innings, that was like,
perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And he could have kept going, but he didn't need to. And hopefully you save him because he's ideally going to pitch Game 7 if it gets there.
You know what home run I think hopefully can be helpful? The Barger one.
And that was a tack on home run late, but you're
useless,
right.
But maybe, just maybe, that can give that guy just a little bit of something where it's like he can build off it. Because he was in a rut, man, where it was like.
They moved him down the lineup.
Yeah.
You're right. That was big. I got to give credit to Andreas Jimenez, who started the offensive party last night and was doing interviews talking about originally, was, laying down bunts and was just going to try to get the runner over, the drag bunt that Jonas Siegel play. And then it was just, I want to hit it in this direction so that we can move guys over. And then all of a sudden he hits a home run. Yeah.
And I think we're talking about in that yard, it's like, that's
the biggest part.
Yeah, it's big boy home runs. It's not like other ballparks where you just got to swat it and it goes out.
Big time. That was what was shocking, I think, for Seattle. was
They're like, this guy?
Yeah, Andreas Jimenez is burning us, and he went 3 for 4 last night. And Vladdy was a triple away from the cycle. Man, he showed up. Vladdy had himself an evening last night, and I'm curious where that would rank for you guys.
I don't think we gave him a whole lot of probability on that yesterday, did we?
You guys didn't.
You did?
I said 100% he has a night. Go back and find the tape.
Is that true?
Doogie, confirm or deny, I said 100% Vladdy has a night.
Full confirm.
Thank you.
You said it.
That's a full confirm.
You just put your headphones on and said full confirm. Did you have any? Did you check on anything?
We posted that social clip last night. Brian said it.
That's right.
100%.
And I didn't tell them to post anything. I want that to be clarified. I didn't text Doogie and say,
if I remember
"Post that
correctly,
clip."
I was pretty low because I just didn't have any faith.
Yeah, you didn't have a ton of faith. Noodles was kind of hum-hawing. I think he was like 51%.
Oh, yeah. He was like, I really believe 51%.
So he'll claim belief.
Yeah.
But game 1 against the Yankees, game 2 against the Yankees, game 3 against the Mariners, how would you rank those kind of Vladdy big? And he was great in game 4, too, against the Yankees. But if you go game 1, game 2 against the Yankees, game 3 against the Mariners, how would you rank the memorable games for Vladdy? In which order?
I'm going to go recency bias because the season's over if that doesn't happen last night, isn't it?
So that's number 1 for you?
Yeah.
I got to go game 1.
Against the Yankees?
Hits the home run to start the whole party for the whole ride.
Yeah.
And he was struggling going into it, and then he continued it. I'm going to say game 1.
It's interesting because I was thinking game 2 because that was a grand slam and the bat flip. So we all see it differently. But if I were to be swayed, I probably would lean towards what you're saying, Jonas, because the championship series holds more weight than the divisional series. So this is
maybe,
because
especially if you were like me and you left them for dead.
Yes, had to happen last night.
Had to happen.
Well,
your
if he
point,
doesn't hit
had
that
to happen.
double, and you're like, oh man, it's happening again.
Mm-hmm.
Is he claiming that the assistant coach was holding him up at second?
Yeah,
I have
the
a
third
tough
base
time.
coach, he claimed after the game because he loves going on Fox with Jeter and Poppy, and
No interpreter either.
And he's right in there. To his credit, he's like, "You want me on? I'll come on and start talking after wins." I don't think he was talking after game 1 and 2. I'm sure they didn't request him, but yes, he did claim that he looked up, and you got to listen to the coach, and the coach threw up the stop sign. That's one where you'd think, put your head down and burn it, because that was in a perfect alley for a triple.
Yeah.
Perfect alley. And Vladdy doesn't burn, but he can move for a big guy.
He gets chugging. He can chug.
He can chug.
I think that's happened only once, a cycle in the playoffs. I believe it's happened only once.
So
You'll never guess the player. I saw it today. I was like, really?
Historically, you're talking ever or Blue Jay
I
history?
believe so ever.
Okay, who was it?
Brock Holt. Do you remember him with the Red Sox?
Brock Holt.
He's like a utility guy. You remember? Like
he had a cycle in which year? Which run?
I think it was 2018.
Okay.
This is not confirmed. This is like 60% confirmed.
You can't confirm or deny?
But I believe that's what I read.
Okay.
Might be fake news. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll look it up. Doogie's on it, I'm sure. But, what a night that was. Like, credit to the Blue Jays. They fly across the country, and they're down 2-0 quick, and they come alive. And tonight, we'll see what the lineup is. I'm sure it's out. If it's not, we'll look that up. But the story is Scherzer going into tonight, for sure. Like, it has the chance to be one of the most epic performances ever, because it could be the end of the ride for him.
Yeah.
Like, this may be the last time we see him pitch.
Yeah.
One way or the other. You presume if they win and they get through, he'll pitch in the World Series.
I told you how concerned I was about it, but there is that element where it is Max Scherzer, and if there's anybody that can possibly turn back the clock, who knows, man? But it just seems so unlikely with how frequent this
and
guy's
he's not a young guy.
No.
He's not a young guy.
What's the Jerry's on a good start?
First inning clean for Scherzer. No runs scored. He gets out of the
first inning?
Let's just say the first inning he gets out of it.
20%. I think that's a fair percentage on this guy getting out of the first inning clean.
I would say like 30 to 35. But I think
100%.
You just want to claim credit.
100%, Doogie. And post it if he gets out of it clean.
He was like peak. Like if you had one game to win in his prime, he's like, he's not 1, he's 2 with Verlander.
Absolutely.
I guess you go back to Howard.
You go to
back in the
Koufax or something like that, sure. But you're right. That's why I said, again, 10 years ago, this would be just a magical setup for them. but it's not. And it's really about him just surviving the first inning and then go as long as you can. The bullpen, though, is going to be ready to go. Like, they were not utilized much last night. Like, none of the guys we saw last night, they're not coming up tonight. Maybe Fluharty.
You think
Maybe
Pete Walker's going to have some old school pager on his belt? He might not even use the horn.
You might have to.
Just a little click on the belt back there. Get that guy.
Get up and
Can
be
you
ready.
imagine if Scherzer sees guys back there warming up before he even chucks one?
Wow, that's the thing you're dealing with. Like, everyone's saying it, that being around him, he's just crazy. Like, he's just
I saw him throw a
raged
no-hitter
animal.
in Washington, and he was going to have a perfect game. I don't know if you remember this. And the guy for the Pirates, like, leaned in to get hit by a pitch right at the end, so he had a no-hitter instead of a perfect game. But he was like, that was like prime Scherzer, and he had like this aura that you're talking about. And I remember at Nationals Park, I think they had this, remember, like, he has the eye thing?
Yeah.
And they had a big picture of his face with the eye and him just glaring. He's just like, I don't know.
Terrifying.
Oh, there was clips of him just holding the ball in his glove in front of his face, like swearing and yelling.
Yeah.
Just spitting and stuff.
Yeah. It's a terrifying look. His whole vibe is terrifying. But he's going tonight. So, Game 4 in Seattle. More on that as we move throughout the afternoon. We got Leafs Rangers tonight, and the Insider's coming up a little bit later this hour. We got Luke coming up. It's all about the old guys tonight because Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, Thursday Night Football, and Max Scherzer for the Jays. Like, you're going to be watching just guys over 40.
Dude, what do you think Joe Flacco is going to do with that team?
Nothing.
Like, do you not think Pittsburgh's going to absolutely pump them?
I suspect they will. Now, they are playing in Cincinnati, divisional game on the road, short week. Never know, but the spread's pretty substantial. I think it's Steelers minus 5.5 on FanDuel.
Like, they didn't want to call the Giants and sniff around what they had going on there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Get Jameis Winston out.
Yeah.
Why
Eat
not?
some W's.
Unless they're just punting on the season. Like, Burrow goes down and they're just going to punt and try to get a draft pick.
But then why trade for Flacco?
Well, they got nothing. They didn't give up anything for it. What did they trade? What did they give up?
I don't know.
Yeah, but how much sense does Flacco make over one of your young guys that
Jake
you have in your
Browning or
system?
whatever.
I hear you. It's
Like,
a
what
very
we-
valid question.
Yeah, like, what are your expectations?
I have no answer for that. You're right.
Then
if you're
basically-
punting on the season,
yeah, you're
why
telling those
even
young
play 'em?
guys there's no way in hell we can put you out on that field.
Yep. You're right. If you're punting on the season, why even bring that guy in?
Do you think Tomlin was trying to like manipulate them a little bit with his stuff about Flacco? Did you see that stuff? He basically said he didn't understand why Cleveland traded Flacco to Cincinnati. And I wonder, like, is he thinking ahead of this game, like butter up Flacco? What would be the point of what he said, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I need to hear the context on it, but he has been playing against Flacco for 20 years.
Good Flacco.
Yeah, but Baltimore Flacco played against Mike
Super
Tomlin.
Bowl
Probably,
champion, Flacco.
yeah, probably he's played Tomlin more than any other quarterback Tomlin's ever faced. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Was Flacco the quarterback when they won the Super Bowl? in
Yeah,
New Orleans?
absolutely. Yeah, for the Ravens. Yes, they beat the Niners. Remember, it was the Harbaugh Bowl. That was Flacco, and his stats in the playoffs were unbelievable, and they still are because they add up like over time. He was like basically Joe Montana in the playoffs.
Who do you think has a better start tonight, Flacco or Scherzer?
Wow, what a question.
Scherzer.
You're
This guy's all in. This guy
Scherzer.
is dying for Doogie to post some clips of him supporting Scherzer.
I'm just basically begging for it. It's a bigger moment. Flacco, he's still learning there. Like, he's been in Cincinnati for a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's a completely new offense. The team's not that good. The offensive line isn't that good. I'll say Scherzer. Like, you got to hope it's Scherzer. That's the answer. You got to hope Max Scherzer has something to give tonight. All right, Luke coming up. Luke Wilson will join us just after 5. We'll get his take on Flacco, Rodgers, the Thursday Nighter, and other stories throughout the NFL. Game 4 of the ALCS tonight. We'll tee that up. Game 3 of the NLCS. And again, Leafs Rangers tonight. We'll get to that as well. The Insider's coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
To OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
You flip the script for the hell of it. Addicted to betrayal, but you're relevant. You're terrified to look down. Cause if you dare, you see the glare of everyone you burn just to get there. It's coming back around. And I keep myself.
Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. Leafs Rangers tonight. Jonas, you've been down there.
Wait, can I tell you guys something I just found?
I'm going to tell you guys something. I think it might be a low-scoring game.
Leafs Rangers tonight. You think
Because
so?
the Rangers haven't scored
Yes,
forever.
because
Okay.
the Rangers can't score goals.
So this is unrelated to that. Max Scherzer's last postseason start was in the World Series, 2023. He went 3 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, and the Rangers won 3-1.
I'll take it.
Take that,
All day you'll take that.
right? Okay.
Yes. There will be a pitch count on this guy. He's not going deep in the game. Just give them basically an opener with a Hall of Fame
That's what it was.
starter.
He
Like,
threw 36 pitches.
yeah. Just give him whatever you can. Get through the order once, probably, and then they'll take it from there. Yeah, I could see low scoring tonight. Although this is kind of like the Leafs running into Detroit.
No kidding. Like, you don't think those Rangers are going to be on notice after going 3 home games? No team has ever done it, not scoring a goal. New coach. You don't think it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. He has put everybody on the New York Rangers on notice, saying this better get better.
It would be very surprising if the Rangers weren't flying early in the game
Yeah.
tonight.
And they've also got Shesterkin in net. Like, whatever they did against the Nashville Predators, they weren't a real NHL team that night. It was loose. Their goaltender was way off his mark. It was kind of bizarro world out there, what the hell was happening against Nashville. We always talk about, like, these guys have been around a while now. They better know that that's just not going to be the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd think so. You would assume so.
All the
You
underlying,
never know early in the year.
A lot of the underlying numbers for the Rangers are pretty good. So
Oh, so they're just getting
the
unlucky.
expected goals.
No puck luck for the Rangers.
So that's what it is. They just had no puck luck.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Unfortunately
Let's
for
see
them, you actually have to score for it to count. But that would indicate that maybe something's coming. The Rangers are not some terrible hockey team either. They have talented players. Last year was a disaster for them.
Yeah.
They have to prove they can get back to playoff performances and playoff caliber. I'm not convinced that they're going to do that.
Ray said it yesterday. He's like, they've got a couple lines that look like they can score, and they have a couple lines that look like they will never score.
Right, exactly. So if you can shut down the Panarins and the Zibanejads and the guys up top, that's going to be a challenge.
Not
for the Leafs.
too different than what teams say playing against the Leafs.
Yeah, that's right.
You take away William Nylander, Austin Matthews, John Tavares, you're going to have some success probably.
Yeah, but the Leafs have gotten some, depth scoring, right? They've gotten some from further down the lineup. They got a couple of defensemen that chipped in the other night.
Calle Yarncroc.
Calle Yarncroc's looked okay.
Rocket winner.
Yeah. Question is, can he stay healthy? And that's always going to be the question. But, yeah, this is a game where if you're the Maple Leafs and you're Craig Berube, you're 2-2. You can't be overly ecstatic with the way you've played, but you're 2-2. Yep. And you're going to face a team that is very desperate this early in the year. And there's a lot of these teams, like we talked about it yesterday. It's early, but there's some teams that you can tell have got to be panicking. They won't say it publicly, but in Ottawa's at the forefront. Let's call it what it is. They're 1-3. They got pumped by Buffalo last night. Their goalies stink. Their penalty kill stinks. Their uniforms stink.
I like those red.
Those were awful uniforms.
Dude,
You
watch
like
yourself.
those?
Those were great. The gold on them, I love them.
No, I was not a fan.
Dude, you
And I'm
hate
not a
everything,
fan.
man.
I'm not a fan. I got to be honest.
What's wrong with that?
Where's the history in that? Is that their history? That where did that jersey come from? I was
Dude,
watching.
It's the third jersey. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to have some jam. It's got some gold on it.
What's fun about that?
The goal.
What's not fun about it? You're
The
going to have
gold?
people from Ottawa.
Bring it. I'm not a fan. I don't think it's a good look. I
Bring
didn't
it.
like it last night. I was watching it and watching the highlights, and it dawned on me immediately. I'm like, who signed off on these uniforms? And you
I
get pumped
can't
8-4, they can never come back. You get pumped 8-4 by Buffalo
you know
wearing
what's
those
not-
for the first time.
That
you
was
can
the
never
first
wear
thing I
them
said
again.
when they wheeled out on the ice with those in the first period. I'm like, that's a sharp red jersey. I like
You
the
thought that
gold.
looked good?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I like.
I mean, it
Tusky.
wore off a bit when the goals started going into the net, especially the one off the glass, off the goaltender.
That hurts. Those are always the most
But what was
embarrassing.
crazy about that game, Buffalo had 4 shots halfway through the game. I was like, oh, my God, are they going to lose again? Like, what's going to happen here?
But they had 2 goals, didn't they?
And then
No, at that point they didn't. And then it was just like, then they took over the game.
second period, they had like 20 shots.
Yeah.
But Ottawa had a lot. It was just a back
It
and
was
forth crazy.
river hockey.
But Ottawa's 1-3, and Tkachuk is going to be out for an extended period of time, and their goalies aren't playing great. Allmark will figure it out.
He better. He has to. Like, non-negotiable. He's got to get to top of his game, Vezina-type form if they're going to, like, stop this slide.
Well, they're playing, is it Seattle they're playing tonight? Yeah. And Seattle's been off to a pretty good start. But someone pointed this out online that Ottawa doesn't have their first-round pick this year because of that crazy trade, the no-trade list where they tried to force a trade or push a trade. Was it Dadonov, I believe? And the league dinged them for it. And they had the option to either give up their pick in 24, 25, or 26. And they kept saying, not this year, not this year. And now it's in 2026, where they don't have their first-round pick. So, again, it's early. It doesn't mean they're chasing Gavin McKenna or they're going to be in the race for it. Yeah. But tough year
and Anlauer
to not
was
have
pissed
it.
because I didn't walk into this and dump this money to deserve this. That wasn't my doing.
That was a Pierre Dorian, mistake, and Anlauer has not been happy about it. All right, we've got Rangers Leafs on TSN4 tonight, which means Darren Dreger's in here. Here are the insiders, Dregs, Pierre LeBrun. Good to see you guys joining us. Look at this insider roundtable. Everyone looking great. What's happening, guys?
Yeah.
Doing all right?
Yeah, doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can confirm that, right? Ottawa doesn't have their first-round pick this year. I'm pretty sure that's the case.
True. Yeah.
And Anlauer has been furious about that ever since he bought the team. More or less, trying to get the league to possibly give it back to them. But do you think that's going to happen? Because they're 1-3 and they don't have their first-round pick.
Well, yeah, I would say at this stage it's unlikely, but in fairness, having checked in on it, I'd be shocked, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah. That's tough, right? Because, go ahead,
just
Pierre.
to jump in, guys, just by coincidence, I actually did check in on this last week. It was one of my notes in one of my Rumblings blogs in The Athletic, and I don't remember why I did. Oh, I know why I did, because the new CBA next year has actually, after all of this Dadonov fallout, which has been kind of wild, as Dregs can tell you in terms of the PA and the league's reaction, they have, in fact, in the new CBA starting next year, decided to force teams to submit no trade lists to Central Registry, so that you never have a situation again where a trade's going down and you don't realize that a guy has a no trade list, and the team's on the list. But in doing so, I checked with the league, because Anlauer had been hoping all along that the league would change its mind and soften its stance on this penalty and that they wouldn't lose their first-round pick. And what I got back from the league last week was there is no change. So at this point, and I think Anlauer knows this, they're going to have to lose that first-round pick unless something changes at the last moment between now and June.
Oof, man. Now, again, it's early. It's 4 games. Ottawa's going to be okay, but what's the deal with Tkachuk? Like, Brady's not playing anytime soon, right?
No,
That's a big hit, man.
Yeah, several weeks. I don't know if it's official yet. I mean, there is a suspicion based on seeing a secondary doctor, another opinion, that he could require surgery, and whether that's happened or not, or whether that's official, we're not getting that from the Ottawa Senators. But we're not talking a month, as Travis Green suggested that would be best case scenario. It'll be several weeks. If in fact he has the procedure, it'll be several weeks. I mean, it could be as much as 2 months or maybe a little bit beyond. So it's going to be interesting to see, and we'll talk about this on Insider Trading, how Steve Staios responds. You don't replace a player like Brady. It's no different than what we've seen in Florida, but they do need internally guys to come together. The chemistry hasn't been there. It needs to be there. The execution hasn't been there. It needs to be there.
Dregs, what about a save? Like, they need their starter. That wasn't their starter in there last night, and he had to go in there and chew on it, their backup. But their starter, Allmark, he has got to return to Vezina form if they have any chance of climbing out of this.
Yeah, and they felt like by the end of the preseason that Linus Ullmark was rounding into that sort of game. But it is going to have to be sustainable. Otherwise, the Ottawa Senators are going to be in a jam. But I wouldn't also suggest, look, you look around the league, and you know, most teams haven't played 5 games. So you got to be careful in trying to attach, okay, well, this team needs this or that team needs that. In saying that, I do know that Staios, if he's not in the market now, will be in the weeks ahead and in the second half leading up to the trade deadline for something bigger. Not a seat filler, something that has some meaning and value.
With Darren Dreger and Pierre LeBrun. So in terms of goaltending, Vegas announced that Carter Hart has signed a PTO. And Dregs, you tweeted out and reported that is it's just a formality, and eventually he will sign a contract in Vegas. Is
correct. Look, I mean, like every team that's right up against the cap, I think that's really what the Vegas Golden Knights are working through, is to have the flexibility to bring him in. The expectation is that it'll likely be a 2-year contract for Carter Hart. And then that's just a stepping stone for him. There's no guarantee that Carter Hart is going to step into the Vegas Golden Knights crease and be better than Aiden Hill or better than what they've had. But there's nothing but opportunity ahead for him either, right? You know, apparently he's talked about being in the best shape of his life. I would expect that to be the case physically. Seemed pretty calm through this process of coming back into the National Hockey League. So, you know, the Vegas Golden Knights are hopeful. Carter Hart is hopeful. And if you get through 2 years and maybe they win another Stanley Cup along the way, then, you know, he's talking about a much bigger contract and the potential of way bigger money.
Yeah, well, obviously it's caused quite the stir. And Pierre, I know you've been down there, Board of Governors, and you're always contacting, and so are you, Dregs, talking with the league. I mean, what is the league preparing in terms of what this is going to look like? Like Carter Hart's going to be in the NHL. I don't know if any of the other Team Canada players are close to signing or if there's teams kicking tires on them. You can tell us if they are. But how is the league approaching this into the future?
Yeah, so Gary Bettman was asked about this yesterday after the Board of Governors meeting in New York. And he kind of gave a pretty generic answer, just in the sense that, you know, we've announced our ruling. Everyone knows what the rules are. The teams understand where we are on this. And so teams will have to make their own decision, is essentially what the commissioner said, which is something he said a few times. And I don't want to read in between the lines when Gary Bettman says that, but I think what he's saying is understand, I guess, what you're getting into when you sign one of these players, I think is what he's saying. And so, yeah, there was backlash today. You know, after the Vegas signing, you know, it's a
from where, like the organization itself,
has
like
triggered
people
some
in the
people.
organization.
Yeah,
I think mostly just around the league fan base related. You know, those who maybe don't know all the facts or the details that led to, you know, the legal determination, and then, you know, the things that the National Hockey League has put in place. Keep in mind, Carter Hart, even though he's on the tryout and ultimately will get the contract from Vegas Golden Knights, these players can't play until December 1st.
Right.
So October 15th was simply a date in which the contract could be registered with the National Hockey League.
With Darren Dreger, Pierre LeBrun,
and it's worth noting,
Hockey Insiders.
Again, there's no easy answer to this conversation, because it's obviously a story that, you know, there are some people in society that believe those players should never play again in the NHL, and that's clearly not what the NHL has decided. But when news surfaced that Carolina was considering signing McLeod, for example, there was considerable backlash among some Hurricanes fans, and I think it's affected Carolina's thinking on it, where they're probably not going ahead with that now. So again, it's not one of those conversations where it's just about hockey.
So Chicago won big last night, and it's a tough segue, but Connor Bedard was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
There was some tweets, Hazy, that said Chicago may be turning a corner. I was like, wow.
I'm not going that distance, but the Olympic stuff is interesting. I don't see him on this team, and I have not seen him on this team just because of how young he is. And, you know, if he's going to play deeper in the lineup, I don't see Cooper feeling overly confident with him on a fourth line, checking line with Sorelli and Bennett or something like that.
Yeah.
But he looks good.
He does look
He
good.
looks pretty good. Like, do you think there's a chance he's at least poking at Doug Armstrong saying, Don't forget about me before we get to Italy.
Well, look, I mean, Pierre, you chime in on this because you're a lot closer to that situation than I am. I feel like there has to be a chance. I think that you have to allow the possibility for a young guy with this sort of skill pedigree to play his way into that conversation. I think, was it like a 29th multi-point game for Connor Bedard?
What about just game breaker stuff, Dregs? The World Junior team in Ottawa this year, they could have used a few more game breakers, and I'm pretty sure after that tournament they said, we went about it the wrong way and we needed a game breaker here or there. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to be in the conversation.
He is. And, you know, I asked Doug Armstrong specifically about Bedard and Celebrini a couple weeks ago. And there's a couple things that the Team Canada GM said. One is that they did invite those two kids to Calgary for the Olympic camp because they're future stars for Team Canada or whatever.
Yeah.
They invited them because they think they can make the team. You know, the notion that, well, maybe you take one of those kids so that they get their feet wet and then the next Olympics in 4.5 years will really no. If one of these kids makes Team Canada for Milan, it's because they think they can be a player in that tournament, is what Armstrong said. And I think they're getting a real look. And to use Armstrong's words, if either Bedard or Celebrini pop, that was the word he used, pop, in the opening 2 months of the season, they have a legit chance to make the Olympic team.
That'd be a cool story.
I feel like there's too many guys.
Which is a good thing.
No, there's just too many guys for them to hop over.
Oh, they have to get over like veterans, established Four Nations players, you're saying?
That's hard to argue.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just looking at the scores for Team Canada the last few years, or just like Canadian players. Mm-hmm. It's like McKinnon, McDavid, Marner, Crosby, Reinhart. That's 5, all making it, right? 0.6 Suzuki.
I think he'd be on the team. And he wasn't even on the Four Nations.
Yeah, but Nick Suzuki, for me, that is debatable.
Okay.
Only in the sense that,
that he hasn't shown up for the World Championship.
And that's left a stain on his resume. Now, if he played well in the second half of the year last year. He played like a player who should be higher up the chart than I've got him. And chances are that he's going to make it, but he's got to have a real good run here, a real good start for the Montreal Canadiens to stay in that grouping, because otherwise, Jonas is right. How do you factor him in? If you're not allowing Bedard to play his way into the mix, especially if Nick Suzuki is just hanging on there, then doesn't really matter.
Well, and it's going to be a different style of play over there too, right? Like, I know we all love the Four Nations. They're not fighting and throwing massive hits over there. It's not going to be the same game. It's going to be a very different game, and that, I think, is more conducive to Celebrini and Bedard possibly, pushing their way in. And like, I look at a guy like Sam Bennett, who we all love. I love Sam Bennett. I love him in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Mm-hmm. Love them at the Four Nations. Am I going to love him at the Olympics?
Okay, so
I don't know.
What about Marchand?
That's another one. Are you going to take over? Like, he was great in the playoffs and he was fiery, but he's 37, 38. Go ahead, Pierre. You chime in on this.
Well, aside from Suzuki, which is an obvious bubble name who wasn't on Four Nations, Robert Thomas and Mark Scheifele are two other, real obvious bubble names that I know Team Canada is tracking closely. It's a 25-man roster for Milan as opposed to 23 for Four Nations. Right. So there's actually 2 extra roster spots, something else to keep in mind. But, yeah, he can't take everyone. The one thing I'll say, and I think this is always something we forget, is that the tournament in Milan is going to be played on NHL ice, not on international ice. NHL ice dimensions. So, I'm not saying that definitely guarantees Sam Bennett makes it again, to your point, Hayes, but it is NHL size ice. Now, if they get the rink built in time, which I won't even get into because I've been tracking that story the last 24 hours about the arena construction delays. But so they are building an NHL roster is what I'm saying, not necessarily like 30 years ago where you're worried about all the extra ice in international hockey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of strange, but that's usually what happens with these massive tournaments. Like, go down to BMO Field. They don't have that thing complete, and the World Cup's right around the corner. So is it strange that the ice is not complete? Yes.
Dude, what about that bridge at the President's Cup? That bridge was supposed to be done a year before it was not done.
That's right, in Montreal.
Yeah, and it was like, what, did this creep up on you guys or what?
Yeah, not getting it done. We'll figure it out.
Just to wrap up the roster talk here and to play devil's advocate, I remember when Canada was building its 2010 Vancouver team, Yzerman and Babcock wanted a team that would win a 2-1 hockey game. They didn't care about the scoring. They cared more about the defensive side. That was the strategy. I mean, do you employ some of that? I mean, look around the top scorers in the NHL right now, and you look at Team USA, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, do you build your roster to a degree with that sort of thinking in mind? More Stanley Cup playoff related than the young guns or high-flying offense.
And that would be a guy like Sam Bennett would factor in well with that.
Brandon Hagel is a guy we haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be on the team.
Sorelli's a winner.
Wyatt Johnston.
Possibly, but young guy without that experience.
Seth Jarvis, didn't he make the Four Nations?
He did. He was there. Konechny was there. Guys like that. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, boys. Good stuff. Thank you for doing this, as always. We'll catch you guys next week.
Thank you.
There they are. Darren Dreger, Pierre LeBrun, our TSN Hockey Insiders. All right, Luke's coming up in about 20 minutes. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Luke Wilson coming up in studio. Steelers, Bengals tonight. Owen Wilson on the clock. I had, I think Noodles brought this up. You brought this up before with your kids. I had my first don't walk me to the gate because it's embarrassing moment this morning, which I always feel is like a big moment in parenting. You know, my oldest is almost 10, and I was told, you stay in the car, do not get out of the car. Not allowed. It's loser behavior. Don't do it.
So what, did you get out?
No. All right, fine. You got to walk your sister then. I'm not getting, if you want me to not get out, you got to do the whole walking and make sure everyone's there. And I'm okay with that. But it was a shot to the ego because, you know, you're doing the drop off and the walk and the hugs. And I got the first not happening. Shoulder. Yeah. You're not coming anymore.
Wait till you get can I have your credit card for dinner? And then you say, well, where are we going? And they say, no, you're not coming.
Exactly. You're not invited, but you're paying for it.
That's right.
You'll be paying, but
that's
you're
not far away.
Yeah, I know. Right around the corner. But that one stung this morning.
It does. It's a kick in the pills where you're like, you feel like you're not cool. Like, I'm not cool enough to wheel around there and say hi, give a few.
Yeah, exactly. What am I doing? I'm not singing or doing a dance or a jig or something.
Stop and chats, hellos, couple waves.
Couple of how's everyone doing? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, Jonas?
You're embarrassing.
I know. And that's what is, like this day in particular, you got Scherzer on a mound, who the whole thing is, well, he's an old guy. He's my age or younger than me. Flacco and Rogers, and the whole broadcast tonight will be, can you believe how old these guys are? Like, that's going to be the whole broadcast. Look how old this pathetic loser is. And they're my age.
Yes, I never thought about it like that. Like, when you talk about Scherzer and Flacco and Rogers, I always think of them like 8 years older than you.
Yeah.
They're your age.
They're my age.
Well, they're old for the league, right?
They're ancient.
I know. But the way
sports.
he just put that, I always thought of him as way younger than those guys.
No. The exact same age, or they're younger than me. And I can't walk kids to the gate anymore. Like, I'm just an old
Didn't the younger
loser.
one support you?
Kind of. Like, more to bother her sister than anything else. It was more like, no, I want him to come, not because she really wanted me to be there, but because it was going to bother my oldest. But then eventually they hashed that out, and then she was totally fine with it too, which also stung. Like, why aren't you fighting a little bit harder for me to walk you to the gate?
Yeah, it happens fast, man.
Real fast.
The drop-offs will just get farther away, too. Like, don't even...
Oh, absolutely. Like, don't even get close to the school.
Don't you remember doing the same thing when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that, but I thought I was I thought I recalled doing that in like grade 8 or something.
Yeah.
And that was more not necessarily to school, but exactly. It was like, hey, we're going, drop me off at someone's house and there's other people there and just here's good and I'll walk it in.
Dude, me and my brother were late for high school one time and we called our grandfather who lived around the corner. So he comes in the house to grab us. We go in the car and he would wear my grandmother's sunglasses. He sat on them, and one lens came out, and he decided he was still firing them on. And at King City High School, all the smokers, which were a lot of cool people, were right outside along where you pulled in. And he wheeled in with one lens in. And me and my brother, I swear to God, we might have been curled up on the floor in the back of this, in front of his car.
That's where you stop, drop, and roll, man. Like you stop, drop, and roll into the school.
Yeah, and it was a purple lens. I'll never forget. One lens was popped right out, and he just didn't care.
I can't tell you how much I respect that he could not care less.
No, didn't even try to put the lens. Nothing. It's just I'm wheeling in there with one lens.
Yeah, I'm doing you a favor.
That's right.
You can shut it if
Did
you
he
got a
honk?
problem.
Did he honk the horn?
No, he just wheeled in there like Uncle Buck, like just didn't care.
Uncle Buck, his wheels in that movie, one of the great car appearances,
Car
in cinematic
name
history.
appearances of all time.
Everything. Uncle Buck. Anyway. So, yeah, we got a bunch of old guys playing sports tonight. That's effectively what it is. And, again, when you look at the Blue Jays, last night, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., and I've seen the stats, and everyone's been pointing out the stats, that he's, I think, 7th all-time in OPS through a certain amount of playoff games, and he's played 7 games now. And it's actually enough data, which is what is necessary in baseball. I'm sure you love this, Jonas.
Size.
Got to have sample size.
Enough data for what?
It's enough to actually make that statement that it's one of the great playoff runs you'll ever see. Because after a game or two, you can't say, this is as great. No, you can't really do that.
But it's TBD right now, and you got to.
Yes, exactly. It will be forgotten if they lose in the CS.
Yeah, like Judge in the first round.
Oh, I don't think it'll
exactly.
be forgotten. Don't you think the Blue Jays organization will be, we just got to get Vladdy back to the playoffs because he could do this?
Yeah, let me rephrase that. It won't be forgotten in Toronto. In terms of the history books in baseball, American baseball pundits aren't going to reference Vladdy in 25.
No.
Right? Some kid has a great playoff run in 10 years. They're not going to say, this reminds me of Vladdy back then. You got to win in order for that to be cemented. Mm-hmm. But there's enough games, enough at-bats where you're like, this guy's statistics are off the charts.
Isn't like Springer right up there for postseason home runs, too?
Yes. Yes.
Fourth,
which,
something?
Again, is a little bit deceptive because there's wild card rounds now and the division. Like back in the day, it was just right into the World Series 100 years ago. And guys didn't hit home runs to the same extent. Like even in terms of what Vladdy's doing right now, he's matching team records. And the Jays went to back-to-back World Series in the 90s, and he's passed a lot of those guys, if not all of them. All right, hour 2 coming up. Luke will join us. Leafs Rangers tonight. Jays Mariners OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
If you smell what the Win Wilson is cooking, girl, you know it's true.
All right, hour 2. OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel. I'm coming around on Milli Vanilli, man. It is a good song. It's completely fraudulent, and these guys were not singing it, but it's not a bad tune.
Partsy, we had a very solid last weekend. A lot of professional covers. These guys, obviously, Blind Squirrel Finds a Nut, got a little bit lucky
for years now.
And Doogie's over here sitting here saying, "Oh, like we split the weekend. And there was no blood." Doogie's over here tweeting things like, "Hazen bro are on fire." I'm like, we split the weekend.
We have been on fire with our
picks. The
picks.
only miss we had last weekend was Denver in London, England, not covering against the Jets. And these guys want to say that they're on fire?
Well,
this guy tweets a picture of him and Al's brother every weekend.
Yeah.
Monday at like 5 p.m.
We do have a real connection. Me and Al's brother. I love that Al's brother.
Partsy, it's personal now. We're going to have to really take these guys out this weekend.
Apparently, Al's brother made his debut on this show 6 years ago today.
With Mike Johnson.
Yeah. And I had totally forgotten about that, but he posted that October 16, 2019. MJ went to do SportsCenter or something, and Al's brother weaseled right in to take part in Jerry's, and he just never left. And he's been a part of the show now for 6 years. That's how he debuted. It was the two of us, and we're like, well, we need someone else to do
and
this.
This guy used to work in that little hut back there. I don't know what he did. I don't even know what he did back there. We didn't even have updates.
No one knows what he did.
Speaking of this, I meant to tell you guys this. I think I was at an airport, and I met someone the other day who is actually Al's brother. His literal. This was before my time. Like, I don't really know Al, and I didn't know
the
his
original
brother.
Al.
The original Al.
Who's not named Al.
Correct.
For the record.
I met his actual brother.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, you want to talk about true frauds? I met the real Al's bro.
The actual Al's brother.
Yeah.
Even though
like
Al is not named Al.
Correct.
Joe.
Yeah. Joe Narsa.
Joe Narsa.
Yeah. So I met his brother. At least someone claimed to be his brother.
Shout out to whoever that was. Joe Narsa's brother. Yeah. Shout out to Joe Narsa.
Yeah.
Well, we love that guy. All right. Well, anyway, we got two old guys playing quarterback tonight.
Yeah. Kind of wild.
Yeah, it is pretty weird that Flacco and Rodgers are still cooking.
How did they get to Flacco? Like, wasn't there another guy they wanted to sniff around at? When you've got a couple young guys, how do you get to Flacco?
It's a very strange situation. And, like, the one guy, and we've talked about this on here, that I don't understand why he isn't more involved is Jameis Winston. Like, Jameis Winston has proven time and time again that he can win football games in this league. And if there's a knock against him and said he throws too much, a little too careless, you know, well, when you have Jamar Chase, I don't know, remember the touchdown Jamar caught last week was unbelievable. I mean, he was completely covered. I'm like, Jameis is kind of the perfect guy for Jamar Chase because he's going to throw him the ball 15 times.
Exactly.
So I don't really know how you get to Joe Flacco, and I'm not sure if you guys saw Tomlin's interview this week, but I thought that was priceless when he was like, I'm not sure. What do you mean?
Why did he say it?
Because I think he was sitting there like, Joe Flacco does present problems in comparison to Jake Browning.
Oh.
So it's like, how can the Browns go into the season and be like, hey, this is our starting quarterback, we're going to compete? You know, if you would have told the Browns at the beginning of the year, that front office, hey, the Ravens are going to be 1-5 after 6 weeks, or do you think you'll be in the race in the division? Your assumption would be like, yeah, we'll be, 3-3 with that defense they have. And now all of a sudden, your starting quarterback, you're like, actually, I'm just going to ship him off in the division. I mean,
it's such a Cleveland Browns.
It's a gong show.
It's such a Cleveland Browns play. But again, from Cincinnati's standpoint, I also don't quite understand it.
Me neither.
Like, I don't see how Flacco is going to find magic for the whole season and push them into a playoff position. I don't think it's going to happen. And if you look at, like, the point differential in that division, it is absurd, man. Bengals are -80. Ravens -50. Browns -64 through 6 games.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Now, what's funny with the Browns is the Browns' defense is actually legit. It's just the offense has been putrid. The big shocker to me has been Baltimore. It's supposed to be a
biggest shock in the
I know
league.
they're injured. I understand that. But even, like, you look at teams across the league, when you have good coaches, generally your depth is still, okay, we might not know them as household names, but, hey, we can plug this guy in and play. San Fran's a prime example. They're banged up, but somehow they're right in the thick of everything. And they have a great coaching staff across the board, both offense and defense. So for Harbaugh, to me, it is a bit of an indictment because Baltimore has looked horrible. Even Cooper Rush, obviously he's not Lamar. We all know that. Nobody is. But when Cooper Rush came in for Dak a few years back, he steadied that ship, won some games, kept him in everything. Like, there was chatter that year that Cooper Rush could start when Dak
Might be the
comes
guy.
back.
Dak is sitting.
Now Cooper Rush looks like the worst player in the league. Like, what happened?
You know what's wild is there's like a time machine going on here in the AFC. It feels like it's 2010 all over again because the Pats are leading the AFC East, the Steelers are leading the North, and the Colts are leading the South. It's like you got Manning, Roethlisberger, and Brady back.
That's kind of cool.
And it is kind of cool. And I guess I'll ask you, who do you, of those three, who do you think is most likely to be competitive by the end of the year?
Competitive
in terms of like fighting for.
Like
they're in the Super Bowl
conference.
Super Bowl. No, like they can make noise in the playoffs.
I'm going to say, I know what you're going to say, New England.
Believe it or not, that is up there.
Indy.
Yeah. I know, it's shocking. I know.
Wow, Danny Dimes in the playoffs.
It's not Danny Dimes anymore. It's Indianapolis Jones.
Indianapolis Jones. My fault.
Different
My
man.
bad.
I'll tell you this. Beyond the Indiana Jones stuff, Jonathan Taylor is one of the most unsung, hero backs. Like, he's unreal. He's to me, he's not Henry, he's not Saquon, he's not CMC, but he's right there. He's
playing
right
better
in that
than all of them this year.
Agreed. So it's like we don't talk about that aspect of it. Daniel Jones, for better or for worse, has looked awesome, and I think defensively they have a lot of good playmakers. Even last week, they have was it Ward that went down in pregame, and you're like, what the? And he comes out here and balls out. Like, this guy's great.
It's a wild scene. You could throw Phillip Rivers and the Chargers in there, too.
Yeah.
Like, this is a throwback in the AFC right now.
To be honest, what shocks me a bit, though, is I think 10 wins gets you to the dance this year. Maybe even 9.
Oh, for sure. The third wild card will be 9 wins.
9 wins.
100%.
Yeah.
Have you gone on SportsCenter and done your yearly at the beginning of the season? I love the Bills, and now you don't know what the hell they're doing out there? Have you started that one yet?
Not yet, but I'll be honest, I am a little concerned about Buffalo. I wouldn't panic. Like, in the past, when the Bills fans really hated me, let's call it 3-4 years ago, I thought Josh was really careless with the football. So it was
Which
not
he
like.
was.
Correct. And now, the last few years, he's cleaned that up. And obviously, last year, the MVP, et cetera. But where I worry for them now is when you have Josh, you're obviously in any game. They could have anyone out there. When you have Josh Allen on your team, you always have a chance to win. But with Ed Oliver coming back and getting gashed like they did against Atlanta, it kind of leaves you scratching your head because you're like, man, there's not a ton of receiver. There's not a ton of talent at receiver. Not like a huge one-on-one guy go win. Keon Coleman hasn't really turned into that guy. Kincaid had a good game before he was hurt, but he's probably been up and down. I think that's very fair to say. Mm-hmm. The run game has probably been the most consistent of their offense. And then you look at the defense, and you're like, man, they're not like stout at any level, so to speak. Bosa's been good. I wouldn't say great. Ed Oliver, I think, is a star, and maybe it was just his first game back. But, is he Jalen Carter good? Your linebackers are a bit older and a bit banged up, and your secondary is not great and banged up. So I worry, if your goal is Super Bowl, you're going to have to really out-scheme guys because if they stay healthy, and I know no one wants to hear this, but with Rashee Rice back into the fold this week.
Kansas City's your team, huh?
Kansas City rolls in there, again, assuming they're healthy, with Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Hollywood Brown as their 1-2-3 receiver, and Travis Kelce as their fourth option in the pass-catching game. And their offensive line is better. You can't tell me that Buffalo feels good about stopping that offensive attack. You can't tell me anyone feels good about it, let alone Buffalo.
Who do you guys think the Super Bowl favorite is right now?
Like in terms of the odds?
The odds. I'm looking at FanDuel right now.
Philly?
Nope.
It's probably
there are
Buffalo.
Two teams tied.
It's probably Buffalo or
Detroit.
KC.
And Buffalo and no.
KC?
Therefore, KC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's public money. And I mean, it's a safe bet because they've been to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row.
Yeah. Packers still third.
Yeah. Listen, Packers.
Yeah.
Jordan Love still scares me, man. I don't know if he's got the it factor.
It's a bit like this whole NFL year has been strange to me because, the Eagles are 4-0 and now they're 4-2. And that team could easily, we've talked about a million times, be 3-3 if Cardi makes those kicks. Mm-hmm. The Bills, we were all talking about, hey, going undefeated till they see KC. Certainly have a lot of issues there right now. They're 4-2. The Packers, at one point, their own players were like, we might run the table. That's still the best.
It's so good after two games.
Yeah, we might run the table. And they've looked, they tied the Cowboys of all teams.
Yeah, and they didn't look great last week.
No.
They were okay off a bye against the Bengals.
You're ready to put that stamp on the Lions. And the Lions, for better for worse, they got absolutely
beat
smoked.
Up. Yeah.
They got beat up by KC on both sides of the ball. And it's like, well, and I'm not ready to put the stamp on KC. They were 3-3.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is there's no prohibitive favorite. Like there has to be someone. The odds have got to supply a 1 seed, but I don't know who that is either.
To put this back in there, they are all flawed. Like the weird one for me, and we'll see tonight, is where does Pittsburgh fit in this? Mm-hmm. How good is Pittsburgh? Aaron right now, if you look at his passer rating, I think he's 8th in the league, but his QBR is like 20-something. And, there's some things that go into both those stats. Defensively, they've had a couple of rough outings, but now Tomlin's got them humming a little bit. They're creating turnovers. Can Pittsburgh be dangerous?
I don't think so, man.
I don't know if they can get to the finish line. That's been their problem. Like last year, they were very dangerous. Remember one of the last years, I think the last year where Roethlisberger was fully healthy and they were 14 or 15-0.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was late in the year. Then they lost the last game or two, and I think they lost in the wild card round and just got punked, and it was brutal. And last year, the same thing. At one point, they were 9-2 or whatever it was, and they lost their last 4 games.
Totally. I'll be honest, if the Super Bowl were today and someone's like, you have to pick who you think would be in it, next week.
I know who you're going to take.
I would say Kansas City versus Detroit.
Oh.
I think it's a rematch of what we just saw. I know it's a bit, I don't feel great saying that.
Yeah.
Who's beating Kansas City right now?
Well, I do think there's teams in the AFC that are capable of doing it. I still think Buffalo can and will. I'm going to stick with Buffalo. I know they're coming off 2 losses, and it hasn't been overly impressive.
Do you think they'll trade for a receiver?
Yeah, I mean, they traded for Amari Cooper last year, I believe it was.
Then didn't use him. This is another thing that I would wonder. It's like you trade for Amari Cooper and you don't really use him. Mm-hmm. You go out and you get Josh Palmer, And I think they're paying him $12 schmil a year, and you don't use them. And then last week, it's like, hey, we got to get him going. So they hit him on a 43-yard bomb first play of the game, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he got hurt. He did get hurt. But he doesn't even play every snap. Like, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, they've done their film research. They've talked this over. He's going to be, you pay a receiver $12 million, he should be your number one guy.
Well,
or at least 1B.
I was having that conversation the other day with my dad because we're watching the Packers, and early in the year, Matthew Golden not getting a ton of touches, not used a lot. Come out of the bye, he had the best game of his career last week. And we were discussing, is it LaFleur that isn't scheming for him, or is it Love that doesn't trust him?
Yeah.
And I wonder how you would answer that. Like, Palmer, there's an example. Like, is it that the OC is like, I can't find routes for this guy or can't find plays, or is it Allen that's saying, I don't trust the guy?
So
one or the other.
Yeah, it's one of the. I would lean latter that the quarterback gets in there and goes, I don't see it the way you see it.
Totally. What gets a bit weird, and I saw this firsthand with Jimmy Graham, is to me, I point towards OC. Because if you look at a Sean Payton offense, which is what Jimmy played in with Drew Brees, it was very, very clear-cut roles where, okay, they had, remember Marcus Colston, he was their down-the-field guy. They had Lance Moore to be their shifty guy underneath, and Jimmy pretty much roamed everywhere else. And the offense was very, we're going to motion this guy to get this matchup. And how you run this offense is we get a matchup we like, and it's on you to win. Meaning you, Jimmy, Marcus Colston, Lance Moore, whomever that person is in that scheme, they go win. Where in Seattle, we never did anything like that. Or I shouldn't say never, but very, very rarely. It was very, okay, here's our offense, here's our play call. Russ, read it out. Russ, if they're doing this, you're going to throw to Doug Baldwin. If they're doing this, you're going to throw to Jermaine Kearse. If this happens, we'll hit the back and the flat, etc. So when you have offenses like that, there's really, it kind of becomes that everyone eats mentality, which is what they say in Buffalo. And to me, when you bring a guy like Josh Palmer in, you should be willing to kind of adjust your offense a little bit, or you're going to get a $12 million guy who's now in the everybody eats category, which is not really why you pay a guy $12 million.
No, I hear you. And that's where the disconnect can happen.
And that's kind of, again, that's what happened with Jimmy Graham. Yeah. And it was I saw it firsthand. I love Jimmy. He's a good friend of mine, but it just was like, why aren't we using Jimmy more? And it's like, well, we just plugged him into our old offense that didn't really wasn't great for Jimmy's skill set.
Well, exactly, and that could be a part of the problem too, possibly. That.
Well, then why wouldn't you just tell the player, look, you're not fitting in our system. We got to do something with you. What the hell's the sense of putting somebody in there you're not going to use?
Well, it now becomes very. We're getting bogged down. You're going to hate it. I know you hate when I go here, but it becomes a front office thing where the front office guys go, well, we paid him $12 million. So you're going to figure it out.
Exactly.
And then there's a wild disconnect between the front office and the coaches. And now when you lose 2 games, and if they happen to not do well, the fingers start getting pointed, and it becomes a whole who's going to be fired? The front office guy for doing this or the coach for not getting it done?
Well, and again, the third element's the quarterback who is going to ultimately win in the end if he's a powerful guy.
Yeah.
Like Josh Allen. And I'm not saying I know that he's doing this on purpose or what have you, but I'll give you an example again from the Packers' perspective. Rodgers would force it to Adams all the time. And it was clear he just said, I don't trust the other guys.
Yes.
I'm not throwing to you. And it didn't matter what LaFleur did. It didn't matter what Brian Gutekunst did. It didn't matter what they paid the guys.
Yes.
Rodgers was like, I don't care. I'm playing. I'm snapping the ball. I'm throwing it to this cat.
Rodgers is the ultimate, like on that spectrum, he is the furthest guy.
Yes.
Like I can confirm that there have been, I watched a video the other day on like an NFL film thing where he would be in the huddle, get a play call, and be like, nope, not doing it. And start drawing like it's recess. Like, yo, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And guys would be like, okay.
So what is a GM supposed to do in a situation like that?
Rodgers is the one end of that spectrum.
And I'm sure there are other extreme examples. Again, I don't know if Allen's that. I don't know. I don't know if Mahomes is that. But if they were, there's nothing their teams are going to do about it.
So here's
because that's the core. He's the man. He's the king. What are they going to do?
About Josh sometimes, and there's no way to be able to prove this, so this is just a theory. I'm not a hill I'm going to die on. But I do wonder if there's some residual from Stephon Diggs. And what I mean by that is when Diggs was there, it was like kind of boom or bust, and obviously Diggs is a bit of an interesting character. But as soon as he left, I don't know if you remember this, but Josh started just balling, and everyone was like, yo, he's freed up. He doesn't have to force the ball to anyone. He can just do whatever. He can read it out. He can throw to whomever he wants. There's no pressure, and he played. It was kind of an inflection point where all of a sudden he started really taking off. So there is probably a world where some of the coaches are like, hey, we need to make sure we avoid that with anybody else in this team. Josh plays better when he doesn't have to throw to anybody. So there's no one here we're going to guarantee 10 targets to.
Yes.
Could be, again, not a hill I'm willing to die on.
No, but I could see that for sure. And listen, it's 2 losses, and New England's looking pretty good. Like, they're battling them here.
To be more telling, though, I think their 4 wins are a bigger ordeal than their 2 losses. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, they beat the Jets.
Well, the Ravens opened night, which the Ravens threw that game away.
Correct. The Dolphins. I said the Dolphins, Jets, and I'm missing one other bum team, the Saints. So between their 4 teams, I believe they have 3 wins. Like the collective teams they've beat have 3 total wins.
Right.
And they haven't really blown anybody out. And that's not always, it's the NFL, you don't blow anybody out. But the fact that against the Saints, there were kind of moments like, I remember it was a primetime game with the Dolphins and the Bills, and we were all like, man, this is going to be a bloodbath. And the Dolphins kind of kept it close. I think you guys were on the Bills.
Yeah, we hammered the Bills.
Yes, and it's
Dolphins
just like,
covered.
We all thought that first win against the Ravens was the real ordeal. And there's a late fumble by Henry, but also the Ravens defense has gone on to prove that they're an awful unit. So they're kind of there's less stock in that. And then the Jets are the Jets. There's not much in it. So I really think they need a staple win here coming up soon.
You mentioned the Dolphins. What do you think happened with Tua?
Oh, I'm glad you talked about this.
Absurd. This is a wild story, man.
This is absurd.
When he calls out his teammates and said some people are showing up late for players-only meetings, some people aren't showing up, and then he comes out the next day and says, or a couple days later,
yes.
That's on me. That was a mistake. Like that's bizarre stuff. I can't. What do you think happened behind the scenes? Do you think his teammates stuffed him in a garbage can or what?
Yes. But all of it doesn't even add up. Like what he's saying to me in like football terms is like 1 + 1 = 7.
Yeah. Or what I took it as, maybe that didn't even happen. So why the hell did you say it?
Players only meetings. Here's one that's funny. And I'm like, okay, so I've had a few players only meetings. Generally speaking, they're not for football. They are for drama. This guy hates this guy. There's a fight. Someone wants to knock a coach out. We got to have a players-only meeting, get this thing back on the rails. So that's the majority of player-only meetings. Tuesdays in the NFL, assuming it's a regular week, is the off day. And we would do a players-only meeting at 10 a.m. with Russ as an offense. And Russ would kind of give us, hey, we'd spend an hour in there. Just want to get you guys familiar, kind of what I'm seeing, because he doesn't get to speak a ton when your OC puts the game plans in, etc. So my point with this thing is if you're 1-5, okay, the last thing I would point to on why you're 1-5 is guys not being in the players-only meetings. Like, of the things that matter in players-only, if that's what they're even doing, I would say that mattered like 2% in whether we won or not. And I would go to every players-only meeting. I would be there on time. But if a guy showed in at 10:02 and Russ was handing out papers, like, the game plan's not even in yet. Darrell Bevel hasn't even talked about what our game plan's going to be. This is all just like extra stuff here. It didn't have at least in my opinion, a massive, impact on the outcome of games. So then what gets even stranger is the idea of doing these things, players-only meeting, is like the most closed-door thing we can do. Why would you go to the media and rat whomever out and then also not even have the balls, for lack of a better term, to go out and say who it is? Like, the whole thing makes zero sense to me. And again, I do feel like guys are probably like, listen to it, like, you keep saying, and I watched, he said it on his apology. He's like, we talk a lot about in here, like, ignore the noise. And, like, I got to apologize because I'm the one creating the noise.
Yeah,
which made me think that it just didn't even happen.
I would agree with you. I think he gets up there sometimes and, like, doesn't know what to say and just starts going into robot mode and is like, I'm just going to say, like, oh, we got guys down going to players-only meetings. And it's like, oh, shoot.
Well, it makes everyone look awful. Like, it fires the coach immediately. Now, he's done anyway.
He looks like he wants to be done.
Now you'd think get me out of here. Let me go back to San Francisco and be the offensive coordinator, like wherever he's going to go. But, yeah, I mean, you're always saying, like, money is a big part of the conversation there, too. And Tua's got his guaranteed money.
Totally.
Tua got paid, and
Paid.
Tua is he's set for life. And the
Yes.
ship is sinking, and everyone's jumping off, and Tua's just jabbing and jabbing and jabbing. And
Here's another one with that game, though, is they go down and score with, what, 27 seconds or something?
yeah, they had
40?
a chance to win the game.
They should have won the game,
Yep.
and then Herbert is about to be sacked. It's one of the worst tackle efforts I've ever seen. Spins out of it or wrestles out of it, hits Ladd McConkey on a shallow route that he then breaks the tackle and goes for 40 yards and gets him into field goal range. And it's like Tua. Your offense just gave, I think they, was it 29
Yeah, 29,
points?
27, I think.
Was that it? So you just
Yep.
gave 27 to the Chargers, which is a decent defense. Your offense looked pretty good, and your defense laid an egg, including in crunch time. It wasn't like the Jets. I guess that's my point here. This isn't a situation where the Jets are cowering out at the end of the half.
They are so awful. It's scary how awful they are.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. They're on 0-17 watch, man. They're
for sure.
on the watch. Officially on watch.
Could you imagine, though?
Their own fans are starting to tweet out some stuff that is just like.
Well,
you look at it, you're like, how is there even a fan base? Like,
I'm with you.
they're the Sabres of the NFL. They haven't been in the playoffs in
I think the same
13,
time.
14, 15 years, something like that.
Could you imagine for me where I think
one
of?
last night.
Yeah. Is
Good for them.
It's like you're on the Jets. Let's say you're on the Jets. You're an offensive guy. It's been a struggle. You haven't won a game. Everybody knows you're not going to the playoffs. Justin Fields is not a throw-in quarterback. You fly to London, England. You're playing the Broncos, who are a legit operation, and you're giving them all they can handle. It's a tight game. I think it was 10-6 at the half, and it's 4th and 1 with 30 or 40 seconds left. And you don't go for it. You let the clock run out. You get 8 more yards, and you're kicking a field goal, and it's 10-9. But no, man, we're too scared that with a running quarterback, with Breece Hall, with one of the most talented receivers in Garrett Wilson, we are too scared to go for this. Oh, and what do you have to lose? You're going to lose anyways.
Yeah, you're done. Your season's over anyway.
Correct.
But that's a defensively minded head coach.
That's
That's
just
a big
dumb.
part of it. It's
But he's
conservative.
coming from Detroit, where their ethos is we go for it every time.
And the OC is the pass game guy, or was the pass game guy in Detroit. I saw that and was like, if you're an offensive guy in New York at that point, you want to puke. You want to puke.
Well, listen, you guys may puke all over yourselves tonight with this pick. I feel like you're going to get it wrong. I'm picking up on bad mojo between the two of you. Al's brother and I, we have an incredible connection. You guys are on the clock. Steelers laying 5.5 at Cincinnati tonight. Who do you like?
Parts.
Layup.
We got to go with Pittsburgh. We got to do it. 5.5. Listen, DK's and Aaron are humming right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a good defense, talking about Cincinnati. And I'll say this, there's been times where I worry about Pittsburgh's defense, but they do create turnovers. And if there's a man who's going to turn this ball over, his name is Joe Flacco. Oh, and by the way, Joe hasn't even been in this offense for a full 14 days. So he got there, last Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
He played on Sunday, and now he's going to play on Thursday. I don't love 5.5, but I do love the idea of Pittsburgh taking care of business and winning by 7.
All right. Listen, short week, divisional game,
You would've
home
done
dog.
the same thing.
Short week, divisional game, home dog. I'm okay with being on the Bengals tonight. I'm okay with it. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it. This is just one of those gross lines and gross games where you don't really want to be on either side.
We need turnovers, Parts, which I think we'll get. We're going to need 2 turnovers to cover this thing.
Okay. Yeah, this feels like this is a Joe Flacco masterclass tonight, man.
God, I hope not. I certainly hope not.
We'll see. All right. We'll catch you tonight on the group chat.
Can't wait.
Enjoy yourself. There he is, Luke Wilson, our TSN football analyst. All right. We got an update on Brady Tkachuk. We'll tell you about that. Leafs Rangers tonight. We'll tee that up in Game 4 of the ALCS. We'll get to that next. All right, best bets coming up. Powered by FanDuel. So Brady Tkachuk had surgery today. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. Now, 6 weeks would seem very, very optimistic for thumb surgery like that. It feels like it's going to be closer to 8. You hope not, for his sake. You hope not if you're an Ottawa Senator fan.
Like grabbing the stick and doing all that stuff, like who knows how that can go.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem. Like if you just don't have the strength in your hand, you can't play.
It's just a garbage thing to happen to the Sens, man.
this early, and at any point, but 4 games in, they're 1-3. They're not playing well.
No.
And that guy's the one that's out. And they're playing tonight at home. And
they'll play better. Like, you give up 8 to
they're
Buffalo,
going to get better. They're going to be better. They're still a good team, but they were a team that they had a great run last year. They made the playoffs for the first time in a long time. They're still in the we have to prove we're real category, with or without Brady Tkachuk.
Dude, nobody wants to take a year off after waiting that long to get in and was like, oh, there you go, fans. That was your one-off, and now we're just sitting on the outside again.
That's the truth. Is your owner is the one that starts saying and thinking, like, you can't pull it back from the fans. You can't do it. And they're not thinking that way middle October. It's way too premature for that. But if it becomes a reality later in the year, that is very challenging. It's traumatizing for a fan base when you finally make it and then the next year you fall flat.
Yeah. Well, what are 2 death blows to a team? Bad goaltending, bad penalty kill. Right? Like, you can't survive that.
And they're both applying right now. And star face of the team gets injured.
Gone, yeah.
I'll add a third element to it. So I guess Keith Pelly was down there. The Board of Governors have been meeting, and Pierre LeBrun caught up with him. And, Keith, of course, being the president and CEO of MLSE, has said that Leafs are all in here and that Brad Treliving has his full support to take a swing before the trade deadline. Now, the trade deadline is 4.5 months away, so it's still who knows what's going to happen between now and then.
You don't even know where you're going to be sitting around then.
But that's why the timing's a little bit surprising, and going public with it is a little bit surprising, but at the same point, somewhat refreshing and also not at all surprising in terms of them knowing they're in a window here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is different. This is what, again, when Shanahan left, now it's going to be Pelly playing that role effectively, and Shanahan would not have made a statement like this. Shanahan would not likely have been speaking, period. He may have done an interview here or there with a paper.
But do you care? Like, does this change?
You can see everything's a lot different. The media, the different stuff they're doing. Like,
and they're trying stuff.
Yeah, they're trying
stuff. Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Leslie's he's doing a great job. He's interviewing players on the walk-in, and they set stuff up down at Real Sports. They're trying to do different things, which I think benefits the fans. I think that's a really smart play. But this is ultimately what fans really want is put together a team that can win. And
I just don't know, saying it, like, what does it matter? Is my point. Like, did it really matter if Shanahan came out and said that stuff or not? Like,
what does
ultimately,
it matter?
If you don't do it, like, it's not go time, then why anybody say it?
Yeah.
Like, do you have to prove that you're a raw person? If the team doesn't do it, then it doesn't mean anything anyway.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
are you saying that ultimately he could rescind that comment and that statement if they're terrible?
No, it's just like let's like zoom ahead to the trade deadline. They don't really do anything because they might not be able to do anything because they don't really have that much to trade. And it's like, well, you said you were all in. It's like, okay.
Well, I guess from that standpoint, I think that's what actually makes this an interesting comment is, does Brad Treliving read this as you have to do something?
Well, they are missing a significant piece. That's pretty clear already, right?
Right, but that's going to cost them assets that they either don't have or won't necessarily, may not feel comfortable giving up.
Yes.
They don't have a first-round pick for the next 2 years. Their high-end prospects, as of now, appears to be 2 of them, Cowan and Danford. I'm not aware of a third one that's up and coming.
Well, and one of them is like on the team and looks like one of their better forwards.
Right. So that, I think, is, as we flush this out, why this comment is significant, potentially, is Pelly is saying publicly, we're in a window, be aggressive. You know, there's a difference between he has my full support and I'm telling you this is what has to happen. Because within the article, he also was pointing that out. Like, the window is not going to be open forever. Like, we've been talking about this for a long time.
But they've been in the window for
ever, and they've won 2 rounds. And that's why you are a team without assets and without picks and without prospects and older guys in a cap system that's difficult to navigate because now everyone's been paid and guys are leaving because their deals are up, right? And that's the damage of being in this window and being competitive and being uber aggressive, which all made sense.
You just have to win. right? Like,
But exactly, but they haven't yet.
No.
And do you feel better about their chances of winning this year than you did 3 or 4 years ago?
No.
Not right now, you don't. Maybe you will by the end of the year. Maybe Stolarz is healthy and everything's all good. Maybe they make some acquisitions. Maybe the size of the team and Berube in year 2 puts them in a position where it's going to be better.
Mm-hmm.
They did beat Ottawa last year. They did go to Game 7. Doesn't mean anything, but still.
It doesn't mean anything for this year.
No, it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't mean anything. But maybe it can be a stepping stone. Now, you would think the stepping stone conversations were 7 or 8 years ago, not year 10. But I think that's what makes this a notable comment is that Pelly is willing to go on the record saying, hey, I'm aware that we're in a short window, and I'm supportive of the idea of going all in, where if he says go all in, guess what's going to happen?
What does all in mean?
I was just going to say, what does an all-in mean?
Well, you're the one that every year you and I yell at each other.
Yeah,
at the
because
deadline, and you always say go all in, and then I say, what does that mean?
I know.
Now, you don't have an answer for what it means?
No, I'm saying you could go all in before because they had things to go all in with. And all in is a stupid phrase because you're not going all in.
What were their things before?
They traded first-round picks. They traded prospects. They went in. Like, they traded for Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Shet, like all those things.
That was the year where that was an all in.
That was
the definition of all in.
That was a definition.
That was Dubas's
Sure.
last year.
And they won the round for the first time in forever. And like, it's one round. Who cares? But this year, like, what would we even say is all in? Like, what does that mean?
Well, I guess
I just sometimes don't like I don't know, lines to
I hear you.
You know what I mean?
They of course they're
Like,
their
go back to
headlines
last
and-
spring, and they're like, well, the expectation here is different. Like, he said it, didn't he? Where he basically said the expectation around here is, like, it's only going to be Stanley Cups. Something like, I'm paraphrasing. And, like, what did they want to do? They wanted to bring back basically the same team. It's like, well...
Then what, exactly, how's that actually going to move the goalpost at all? But
I don't know.
Again, we don't have we have the answer in terms of right wing on the Matthews line. We believe, right, a top 6 addition. So let's just say that's not going to change between now and the deadline, and it more than likely won't, unless the Cowan thing works and he actually fits and it's all good. But that would be an example of it. Depth players. Making multiple moves at the deadline, and at least one that is an impact play that costs you a significant amount of assets. I think that's how I would define all in, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So if
I don't even
the
think
mandate
they
is
made last year cost significant assets.
yes,
Mhm.
2 first-round picks
getting Carlo and Lawton.
and a prospect. They're one of their tops.
Okay, so let's replicate that.
They can't. They don't have it. Like, I don't even think they have a second-round pick next year, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm
No,
not sure
they don't
do
have a
either.
second-round pick next year.
So how do they make this work?
I don't know.
So what do you say? Play like role play. If you're Brad Treliving and
I
Keith
think
Pelly
the
goes, "Come in
interest-
my office. I want you to go all in this year." What does he say to him?
Well, so let me turn this around. So I go to another team. I go to Pittsburgh, and I say, I want Brian Rust. What do I have to give you? And Pittsburgh's going to look at you and be like, okay, well, I want Danford. I want Cowan. And then you don't have any picks. Like, your next best pick is a 2027 second-round pick. That's their best pick for the next 2 drafts. So it's like, is that enough? Is it? What? What am I
Well, I
missing?
don't know why he's staring at me. Like we're playing role play here.
You're saying Danford and Cowan?
No,
and
obviously not for Brian Rust. You're not giving up both those players.
Okay, but one of them is not enough. Like, if you say
Yes, it
if you
would be.
if you go to Pittsburgh and say we want
It would be for that guy in particular. It would be.
Danford and a second-round pick in 2027,
Yeah.
Lawton just cost them a prospect and a first-round pick. Is Brian Rust better than Lawton?
Well,
Yes.
for starters, Grabenkin is not much of a prospect.
Okay, but Rust is better than Lawton by a lot.
He's not. I wouldn't suggest by a lot, but yes,
He's like a 6-time 20-goal scorer. Okay.
Fraser Minton
He's a
and
good player.
first-round pick for Brandon Carlo.
There's another good
yeah,
example.
that was significant.
It's
Now, Carlo
expensive,
had
like-
multiple years on his deal, and he's a
True.
big right shot defenseman that
True.
plays in your top 4. There's a lot of value that comes with that.
Okay, take it like forget Rust.
I'm just saying.
pick
My
another
my
guy.
point there was that's Dubas and Wes Clark, and I think they would
Okay,
look
so
at those
say
guys
Alex-
and be like, I like them a
Say
lot.
Alex Tuck. Buffalo comes to you and says, we'll trade you Alex Tuck. What are you going to give us? Ben Danford and your second-round pick in 2027?
cut it.
Not going to cut it. No way. Sorry.
Right.
We can do better than that somewhere else.
More than likely they can.
So that's what's tough. And
I
that's
think
why,
we can come to the conclusion that the all-in scenario is awfully difficult.
unless, like,
Okay.
and I think Cowan is going to be the interesting one because he's going to be their best chip. But, like, if he's contributing and he's on your team, you're not going to trade him, especially with how little youth they have coming. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they could be in a position where it's like, okay, you can trade him for someone better now, like Rust or Tuck or whoever, but it's like he's your only shiny prospect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's tough. Like I don't know what I would.
Well, especially
do.
for a rental. Now, like I would
Right.
be open to the idea of trading an Easton Cowan, but not for a guy who's going to play 3 months for you.
No way.
Like that's again, the Carlo price was significant,
Well-
but they have him for 3 years.
Rust has. Well, he's old. That's the problem. He has 2 more years after this, but he's 33. Like-
Yeah, and he's got injury issues.
Okay, so
at times.
Raquel, does Raquel interest you?
Not
He's
for
got
Easton
2 more
Cowan.
years?
Like I'm not giving up
But
Cowan
then you're
for
not,
either of those.
that's
guys.
the problem. Like then you're not getting anything because like your second round pick in 2027, like no one cares.
Yeah, like unless you're willing to go deep into the future, but that's a dangerous game.
Right, like your 2028 first round
That's
pick.
very dangerous
Yeah.
because that could be Matthews is out and they're turning it over,
Sure.
and then you're in big trouble. So you got to be very careful.
Yeah, so maybe you just have to get like some sort of like okay forward who's just better than what you got.
But and I guess that's what I'm driving at is, and we don't know the answer, but will that appease Keith Pelly if the mandate is you've got to be a significantly better team on March 7th than you were on March 5th?
Well, can I ask you, like, what is Keith Pelly's situation with the ownership change? Like, I don't know. Like, what
well,
how
I
does
think
that work?
I'm pretty certain it was Rodgers that brought him in.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain that Rodgers was well, and both parties were aware of where this was going for the
So
most part. And
What do you think the bar is for this team? Like for him to say, I'm not changing anything.
I don't know. We're a week in.
I know, but like we're having big picture conversations. Like this is what you're saying all in. What does all in mean? So like for the season, all in means, does that mean they have to win the Stanley Cup? Does that mean they have to get the Eastern Conference Final?
well, yes, they'd have to improve on anything they've done the past 20 years.
So Eastern Conference Final.
Yes, I would say that's the minimum bar for an established. Wow, what an improvement!
And it has been for 5 years.
Yeah, I would say at least that. At least that.
Yeah. Because
Like
they've been contenders or thought of. Everybody at the beginning of the year, oh, love Toronto, love the Leafs. It wasn't like, oh, we hope they can win one round.
Yes.
People were always saying for the last 5 years, these guys should be in a conference final or a cup final.
Right.
That's been the standard.
Yeah. And I don't think that's changed. I still think they're a really good established veteran team.
Yeah. And the East is like, I don't know. There's not a lot of teams you look at and you're like, they're significantly better.
I wonder, and I don't think it's possible with this team, but if there could be an old school like hockey trade. But I don't think they have the team that's built for that because they're not trading Matthews, Nylander, Nyes, Tavares. Like those guys have no trade clauses and all that. They're not going anywhere. The next layer
Like Riley,
doesn't.
McCabe, Tanev, you're not trading
But those
guys.
are older guys, exactly, that you
rely on.
you rely on and are established. And you're not. Yeah, so you're not trading Simone Benoit. You're not trading. Max Domi or something.
That's the thing. Like,
And
what
those
do you
guys
have
aren't
of-
giving you value anyway.
Exactly, and that's the challenge.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's why I think this statement is somewhat interesting. Maybe it won't matter in the end, but it is something likely to come back to after the trade deadline.
Good point. I should write this down.
Yeah.
Note it.
This comment in mid-October, did it ring true or not? And if they end up making all these moves where you're wondering, that seems a little bit reckless. It seems like a lot. I'd come back to this comment and say it's because it's coming from up top.
Yeah.
You've got to do something. You've
I don't
got
know
to
what
try
that
to
could
win
be,
here.
though. They don't have a lot. Like,
Yeah,
what could
why-
be?
what
I
would be
understand.
reckless?
What would it be? It would be
Well,
a
like I just said-
2028 first-round pick.
Precisely that.
Yeah.
Which is remarkably reckless. Would you put it past them? Let's say they get a deal, player X, who's the perfect fit right now, and it's going to cost you a 2028 first-round pick, unprotected.
This is a stupid hypothetical, but Pittsburgh comes to you and says, "We'll trade you Crosby."
Wow.
But they don't have enough to trade.
I mean,
so forget about
Sid,
that.
Sid, I would do anything for. That would be
Okay,
completely
so
different
forget
story.
about that.
But let's
Okay.
say it's Alex Tuck,
Okay.
who's a UFA and a rental and a big guy and a really good player and a perfect playoff
I think
performer.
he's expiring.
He is.
I don't know what the desperation would be to do that, to
I
dig
wouldn't
into
do
the
it.
2028
Yeah.
first round pick.
No chance.
But
But do you think it's a 0% chance that they would do it? Do you think Brad Treliving
For a
with
rental?
consultation from Keith Pelly, it's a 0% chance they do that?
consultation or telling you to do it.
That's
is
my
a big
point. That's what
difference.
I'm asking.
Then you're doing it if you're told to do it.
That's a great question.
Okay.
You go into his office and he says, "You have to do this."
Well, but again, like Keith has been very upfront. He told us this at BMO Field. Like he is involved every single day. And he's there. He's there as a sounding board.
I saw him in the dressing room after the game the other day. I was like,
yeah. Like, he is very, very involved. And he is the boss.
well, yeah.
Now, it filters off.
I guess
there's
it's
a
like
guy above him.
I was taken aback that he was there, but then it's like I saw Shanahan there every game. Like,
Right.
And he's
and that's the
basically
role he's
Shanahan.
playing. Exactly. Now, when the Raptors play the next night, he'll be in there. And Shanahan wasn't, but he'll be around with them. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's presented to him, this is what we have, and this is what I'm thinking of doing. Now, Shanahan would have played that role and said, do this, don't do that. Like, he
Except there's a
signed
big
off on
difference
everything.
in the two.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm getting to. Shanahan was the hockey guy. Keith is not. Keith is
A media guy.
president, CEO. Yeah. This will be a story.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be a story. We'll see what comes of it.
Well, they're going to write their own with their record.
Well, that's another thing. If they're, we'll have to find out what it looks like once they get there.
Exactly.
Clearly. All right, Leafs Rangers tonight. Jays Mariners. You got a good feeling before you get out of here?
I got a good feeling on both fronts.
Really?
Scherzer scares the hell out of me.
You're going with the Toronto parlay tonight?
Why not? Why not? Every time I say it scares the hell out of me, nothing happens.
You should just pull a Hayes and just say something you want to be clipped for tomorrow.
I don't do that.
I
These guys
hammered
are
that
full.
Vladdy point. But that Vladdy point, I was messing around earlier. Vladdy, I was 100% certain he was going to have a great game. I feel better about the Jays than the Leafs tonight, personally. But like New York, the Rangers, Sullivan scares me. All right, we'll get to our best bets. Powered by FanDuel. Catch you on the panel tonight. Jonas, you and I, we ride. We ride and bring it home.
I got a good stat for you for the Jays lineup.
Okay. Coming back with a good stat courtesy of Jonas Siegel. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, best bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm going to take the Leafs out of this parlay tonight. And I just don't have a good feeling.
Wow.
Like, I know the Rangers have not
They're
played
starting
well.
to play better, though.
The Leafs?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's more about the Rangers. When a team gets embarrassed like they have been embarrassed,
Yeah.
that's what scares me, is they have to play better tonight.
Mm-hmm.
They have to score. Shesterkin playing. Stollart's in net.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying the Leafs can't win. I don't want to bet on it, is my point. But I will bet on the Jays and parlay that with the Steelers' money line. I'm going to avoid the spread. But Jays money line, Steelers money line, that paying plus 186. Best bets powered by FanDuel. Same game parlay is now available for every MLB game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly, 18 plus, physically located in Ontario.
So my stat was, I was like, why is IKF playing in this game? He is 5 for 13 with a home run against Luis Castillo.
Okay. Go get him.
So there you go. Maybe you should bet on him.
Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Better not have an error tonight.
No, yeah, that's like
Cannot
he's
have an
basically
error.
in there for his defense.
That's why they picked him up.
Yeah.
IKF gets on the board tonight. Is that what you're telling me?
Book it.
Okay. Book it. And the Jays have hit Castillo pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And they like that park. They've won 4 in a row in Seattle. Swept them 3 games early in May. Won last night. Scherzer on the mound. I can't wait for this game.
He's got it.
Cannot wait for Scherzer, man. I'm pulling for him. I hope it's going to be a great game for him. It would just be such a unbelievable legacy. Like, he's not building on his legacy. He's going to Cooperstown, all that. But from a Jays perspective, it would just be so cool to reference. Remember Game 4 when Scherzer went up?
Yeah.
How well he pitched? Let's see if it happens tonight. Jays, Leafs, Thursday nighter. What a night it's going to be. All right, Jonas, good seeing you.
Thanks, Hayes.
There's Jonas Siegel of The Athletic. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll chat then.